Hi guys, I'm back. This is page 37, the first check your understanding. So we will write a power with a rational exponent as a radical, just like what I showed you at the beginning. So you have a power. A power means you have a base with an exponent. And here the exponent is a rational, meaning it's a fraction. You will turn it into a radical. Let's take a look at how it works. And then in the end, once we have turned it into a radical, we will evaluate it, meaning find the value. All right. So first one, 25 to the 1/2 becomes this. All right. Okay. So that number, that base, is going to be a radicand. That denominator of your fractional exponent becomes your index. Of course, you don't really have to write that too. I'm just putting it there just so that we're clear. And then this numerator 1 becomes the exponent of the radicand. Of course, you don't really need it, or this is how it looks like. This is the square root of 25. Okay, that is how you write this one as a radical. And to evaluate it, the answer is 5. Okay, here we go. Next. So now I can go straight into turning it into another format. So it's going to be a radical. What would be inside? Okay, the base is -32, so that goes inside. All right, that 5 as a denominator of the exponent becomes your index. That numerator, which is a 1, becomes your power or exponent of the -32, which you don't really need. Okay, so this is just the same as the 5th root of -32. And what number multiplied by itself 5 times gives you -32? That would be a -2. That one, this one here. So this time, if you turn it into a radical, your base would be 64 over 27, and that becomes your radicand. Okay, that 3 is an exponent. As a denominator in the exponent becomes your index number. That 1 becomes your exponent here, which you don't really need. Or it becomes just the cube root of 64 over 27. Now, some of you can already see what it is, and if you can't, that's okay. What you can do is this. Remember one of the radical laws. If you have an index of a fraction in a radical, you can split the radical into two parts, and that's okay, provided you use the same index. Some of you don't really need this step, and that the cube root of 64 is 4, and the cube root of 27 is 3, and there's your final answer. So once again, I just wanted to point out to write the power as a radical, this is the answer for letter B, this is the answer for letter C. When you evaluate them, this is the answer for letter B, this is the answer for letter C. Next one. 64 to the 0.0 to the 0.5. Well, remember the 0.5 is the same as 1/2. So you can rewrite it like this, and now you are ready to turn it into a radical wherein the base is 64. That denominator of 2 of your exponent becomes your index, and then the numerator of your exponent becomes your power for your radical, and really you can just turn it into a 64 or the root of 64, and that would be an 8. Okay, let's take a look at check understanding number 2 because it's pretty much the same. Okay, writing radicals as powers with rational exponents. So when I say pretty much the same, it's just the reverse. Okay, So we're not being asked to evaluate. We just need to rewrite this as a power this time. Okay. Now let's recall. For example, 2/3. Okay. Um, to the, I don't know, 1/3. That would be the 2/3 becomes your radical. That 3 as a denominator becomes your index. That 1 as your numerator becomes your exponent for this one, which you don't need. But taking a look at that, instead of going this way, we are now going this way, right? So you will notice that the base in my exponent is, in my power is the radicand. So here, the radical is 5 over 8. So that's still going to be the base, right? Now, notice that this cubed is the denominator of the exponent, all right? So that means this one becomes this, okay? And then it is understood that there is an exponent of 1 here, which becomes your numerator, okay? Okay, next one. Here it becomes 20 over 9 is your base. Your index is 3, so that becomes your denominator for exponent, and numerator is 1, okay? Now, for this one, oops, you have to turn it into, well, um, I would turn it into a mixed radical first, okay? I will turn it into an entire radical first, rather, before turning it into a power, okay? So that means the 2 and cube root of 5 requires me to put that 2 inside the radical symbol, which means if I put the 2 inside, which will be multiplied by the 5, I will give it the same exponent as this one, all right? Which means it's going to be the cube root of 5 times 8, which means it's going to be the cube root of 40. And if you're going to turn that into a power, the base is 40. The exponent has a denominator of 3, and there's your answer. Okay, that's it for the first two check your understandings. I'll see you in a bit with check your understanding numbers 3 and 4.